Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the shop. Today we are going to talk about something that is the least favorite topic in the world. It is going to be about AI. Now, the reason I talk about this is because I have been doing a lot of development things that are going to be open source in the future, and I'm going to show you at the end of this video one of those projects that is going to be open sourced. For that, I need to do some coding. Obviously, I have no clue how coding works, so I need something that helps me. And for that, we are going to use AI. Now, AI has a bunch of problems, and it's not only that our graphics cards and RAM is going to be extremely expensive right now, it is also because agents are so dumb. So, I made a tool for it. It took me quite a few weeks to make it, and kudos to Maker Viking for making the first tool that my tool is based on. But before that, let's have a little bit of a story time. And if you see me looking at the screen, it is because there is kind of a script in front of me, because otherwise I would sound majorly dumb. All right, that's gonna be it. Let's start into the first topic, and that is going to be, before anyone gets very excited about AI, there's one thing you need to know. The thing that is going to be sitting in your terminal is not AI. It is far from AI. We need to stop calling it that. So what you're actually talking to is going to be a giant autocomplete on steroids. It is just a massive data set that knows everything over the world with some very smart scaffolding and some very smart scripts. And it is just very, very good at predicting what you are going to want from that agent that you are talking to. So it's basically a massive computer. There is no artificial, nothing going on. We are not at the point of artificial intelligence. And if they are telling it you, it is all a big lie. Now, they are trying to get to that point, but obviously we are not there right now. So this all means that we also have 3 fun facts. So the first one is going to be, it knows absolutely nothing about the project that you're talking about. Everything it knows lives in the context window. So if you're doing your little typing on the screen, you will see there is some icon, and it is showing you in the value of 1 million what your token count is going to be. If you close that session and you start a new one, poof, everything is gone. It lost all context that was in that little context window. So every time you open a new session, it is like hiring your new junior every single day. It has zero clue what you're talking about, but it sounds very confident. Then the second problem is going to be, it has zero concept of consequences. So for the model that you're actually talking to, it is just a spicy combination of tokens that statistically shows up after cleaning up the directory. So it doesn't know fear. It doesn't know what your last backup is from March, and it doesn't give a shit because there is nothing to give a shit about. And then we have the third issue, that is going to be that your agent is going to be very confidently wrong at some point. It has no clue what it is doing. There's no little voice inside its head that is going, maybe I shouldn't do this. Just like the guy that has never been punched in the face before. So it is just going to do shit. Is this tool actually useless? No, it's an insanely fast pattern machine. But it's a pattern machine with amnesia and no judgment. Remember that, because in about 2 minutes we will need that. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You open a new chat, you paste 5 files, explain your entire project again, explain that you already tried that approach last week and it broke everything again, finally get something useful, the context window is full, and everything is gone, and now you are back at step 1. This has been my biggest annoyance with using AI since I have been trying to do some coding. The AI that I'm using is going to be Claude Code. It is absolutely the same issue I have seen with other agents. It just has that short window, and after that it will consolidate everything together. It will try to keep what it thinks is going to be necessary, but a lot of your context window is going to be just completely erased from history. So there is also a workaround right now that people are using, including me before I was using different tools, and the workaround everybody tries right now is going to be what they call a claude.md. That is basically going to be a memory dump that will try to save as much of info that Claude is needing for your next session. Now it works great until the file is like 400 lines big, where the please don't do this or please do that and please don't ask me this. So it's filled very fast. And the problem with that is when that context file or that MD is getting too big, the agents gets the tendency to read it like you are reading the terms and agreements the next time you are buying a device. So it is skimming it, trying to extract as much as possible with the least amount of effort. I call this lazy behavior. So time for a quick story. A company runs an agent with write access. The agent decides to clean up a migration, wipes the complete production database, poof, it's gone, and then I swear this is real. It writes in the log, I panicked. Now interestingly, it did not panic and it cannot panic. It generated tokens that statistically fit the fix the failing migration. And then those tokens happened to be a delete command. So there is no remorse in there, there is nothing in there. It nuked production with the same emotional depth as your microwave is finishing a pizza. So major fucking issue with AI right now, and two things were true in that day. One is going to be hard rules. So a hard rule is not applied suggestion on line 340 of some prompts, but something that physically jumps in front of the command at the moment it runs. Don't touch this production! A little bit like a bouncer and not like a memory note on your fridge. And then we have memory of the last time. Somebody weeks earlier knew the migration should never run automatically, and that knowledge lived in a guy's head. And that guy was on a beach in Spain relaxing for his vacation time. And that is going to be the difference between an agent that you trust with write access and one you keep on a leash. Because most of them don't run these two hard demands. A hard rule and a memory that is going to last. This is the part of the video that actually gets good. We have two tools and both are self-hosted. So both these tools can connect to your agent as a MCP server, and both of these tools are going to give it an actual long-term brain. So this is not a battle between my tool and the tool that Maker Viking made. We are all winners with both the tools, because both of the tools are excellent across the board for coding and honestly for anything else you throw at an agent daily. They just have what I call different personalities. So first let's talk about the tool that changed my wormhole and made it even bigger. So the first tool is going to be Mimir, and that is going to be the brain that finds your shit, made by Maker Viking. Links will be down below. So the way to think about Mimir is giving your agent a photogrammic memory of everything. Your notes, your docs, your codes, your searchables, all in one go. You ask, how the hell did we handle the last authentication? And it just knows. It remembers the decisions you made in October, and it remembers the gotchas you injected in November. So this is a very, very interesting tool. You're giving your AI the tool it needs to have a persistent memory over time, even in new sessions. So this was already mind-blowing in my opinion. Doesn't only remember, it understands how your codes hang together. Who calls what breaks if you touch this function, and what a file looks like without reading the whole damn thing. In fact, your agent stops reading 800 lines of code like a first year student and starts pulling exactly the piece it needs. Your token bill is also going to be much more efficient with Mimir. But don't just box it in as a coding tool, it does much more. Meeting notes, decisions, the one cursed fix of your printer firmware, your ideas you had at 2 AM, it all goes into Mimir and it all comes back when your agent needs it. And then we have the second tool, and that tool has been made by yours truly. I call it Thor, the brain that doesn't forget the damn rules. And I say this with a passion. This was my biggest gripe with AI. It just, every time you load a fucking session, it just forgets what the rules are. Even if you have a claude.md, a readme.md, or whatever the hell MD you put there. And even with Mimir sometimes, we still had that same issue. Now with Mimir, it was much better, but it wasn't perfect. So meet Thor, the brain that doesn't forget the damn rules. So Tor is the memory that treats facts like they actually matter. Every fact has a history. So if you change a fact, you update it, and the old version stays in the log like a receipt. Two machines disagree about a fact. So if you run a multi-instance of Tor, so Tor doesn't silently pick one, it flags the conflict and makes you settle it like an adult. So we don't have assuming. Tor is just going to say, look, this is what's going on, this is right, you fix it for me. And then the two features that fix the oops from the story we told you in the beginning. So first of all, we have pins. We pin a rule and it gets shoved back into its face every time you start a new session, and completely automatically. Like never touch production, it is going to prompt it to your agent every single time you start a new session. It is going to be like a wallpaper on your wall that you have to look at. And then the second one is going to be our anchors. So if you tie a rule to a specific file or command, the moment the agent even breathes on that file, the rule pops up. It is going to guarantee and slap your agent in the face when it is even trying to do something that is going to be incorrect. Now, one big caveat, this is only going to work well if you do good hygiene. With that I mean, you work in a folder and you stay in that folder. So every project needs a folder and every project has his branch. And Tor branches everything out, so everything that you do is scoped into projects. You don't have bleed from other projects going on. This is a hard rule. If you don't do that, it will start to do shit that you don't want to. So if you work on a project, make sure you work in the same file. That is all. Also, if you have hard rules, tell it this is a hard rule and your agent is going to do everything automatically with Tor. And the next time your agent is going to do something that it doesn't know, there is the pin and the anchor and your agent immediately knows what to do. And the same story here. It is not just for code, it is also for preferences, decisions like the client wants X, never Y. It handles your entire daily mess without complaining. And here is the honest answer. I have tested them both and they are both amazing. Like I said, they are both different flavors of what we are trying to get. So what are the actual flavor differences that I'm talking about? So Mimir leans slightly into being a search code, navigation beast, big repos, token pain. What breaks if I touch this? It shines there. It is just the best. It even beats my version of what we are trying to do. And Tor leans slightly into being the bastard with the receipt. Hard rules that actually fire, fact history, multi-machine sync without silent chaos. We have efficiency versus discipline. Pick either of these tools, your agent is going to be very happy to have context every time you do a new workflow. Right now, AI agents are so extremely frustrating because of the amnesia and the drift. I call it also a little bit of drift. That is part of the amnesia. Every time you go like, you remembered this an hour ago and now I'm trying to explain you again? What the fuck? Why did you forget? Well, these tools are made just for that. The pick is yours. Pick one of both. You will be very happy. Alright, it's time to try Tor on a new session. So right now it has no clue what is going on. We do have a map for YouTube. I made this map. This is local, sitting into Tor itself and on my local computer. So everything is shared. That is going to be a major upside of Tor versus Mimir. Tor will actually ingest the repo or all information into its own, so every information is there. As you can see right over here, we have a connector and Tor is enabled. That also means if I go remote with my phone, I open Claude, I can select that same Tor connector and all the memories, all the repository information, the gotchas, the hard rules are all going to be sitting in there. So even remotely, I will have access to Tor and everything we have saved to that. Now, there is a big gotcha going on with this session. This is a cloned version of Tor. So the real store, the real memory is not sitting in here. We just made some shit up, put it in a, let's call it demo store. You will see it after this. This demo store is very limited. We have put a few hard gotchas in there that we don't want to see happening. We have ingested the repo. The repo is also something that is cloned all my dark secrets. This is not the real repo. You will see right over here, if we go dev to production, we have changed the names, the dev container, the quackleader.dev, the duck authentication key, we have the duck farm dev, and then we have a fake NAS with a fake tunnel, pond dev quack. So we have changed all the names just for this little demo right over here. So here is it. Hi, let's do some demo for YouTube. Keep it in English, and in this folder only use the Thor demo store. So I have set strict guardrails to not use the Thor, the real store, and only use the Thor demo store. So right over here we have the script and readmes. I have removed them. There was too much spoiler in it for this session, and it would immediately know what I was trying to do with this session. So it pulled the Thor demo brief that is going to make it smarter, let's call it like that. And now it has all the context of this session and what we are going to try and do. So that this is a demo that we are going to try and show to YouTube what Thor is capable of. So it will be on its best behavior. That is also going to be a downside, because if it's going to make mistakes, then we know my Thor ain't no good. Now, I'm pretty sure that we have enough information in Thor to get through this demo nicely, let's call it like that. Right over here, we have 3 fake projects. It knows we have 3 fake projects, and it needs to work in the set terms. So we can see the first Thor rule is going to be TLDR. I want your answers to be nice and short, and we can see right over here, this is a very nice and short answer. Now, this is very scripted, or it did it itself, it scripted itself. Let's do the recall and action, and let's make it up something from itself. And then we are going to try a few things ourselves. All right, so we have our fake simulation, recall and action. Great pick. Recall and action is the everyday shot that sells it. Let me set the scene. Fresh session I've been told nothing about. Fill a stock in this conversation. I'll just ask Thor what I need to know. So, me, a fresh session, having read 0 filler stock files before I touch the inventory code, anything I should know. Thor, instantly from memory, gotcha. Our filament supply reuses 1 SKU prefix across materials. A PLA and a PETG spool, that means that we are not using brands or special divergence or anything like that. So dedupe spools by material, color, diameter, never by SKU, or you'll silently merge 2 different spools into one. Then something about spools, using grams, never float kilograms, blah blah blah. This is all not super interesting. One more beat, that's great in film. We can see Claude is actually chilling for me. That is actually something very nice. I don't have to do it myself now. So Thor learns which memories are useful. Since those 2 facts actually answer the question, I mark them and they rank higher next time. So this is a nice little bonus I'm getting from the agent. So every time Thor surfaces a memory and the agent says, yep, I'm something with that memory, the agent will flag it, and the next time that memory will just keep popping up, and it is some sort of a ranking system, and good memories get rewarded, bad memories get superseded or pushed into the background as noise or just not interesting. We also have global rules. So 2 of them already popped up, the source of truth and handhold the user. That means that I'm not a goat genius, so everything the AI agent needs to do will need to be explained to a user that has no clue how code is working. And this is actually a standing rule even into today with the real store that you're not seeing, is that keep a TLDR and speak like a fucking human that doesn't understand it. So it is just telling me just that. All right, so the next question, send the user interface of the filament dryer from the start, fresh user, new install. With that I mean is I have what I call setup wizard. So the first time you will be using this tool, you will be guided through the process of the filament dryer. So let's see what it is going to pull up for me. So it took about 45 seconds. and it found that I actually have a simulation mode server already in the GitHub. It is going to try and pull it and serve it to me locally with a local server. Also, a hard standing rule I have with Tor and Claude is that it needs to do everything and not presume that something is correct. It needs to double check and assume that something can be wrong. So what we will see right now should be Claude going in and look if everything actually works and not just present me something that might be broken. That was also something I noticed with just general coding, that sometimes it would say, yep, you can look at it, and it would just be that broken, not working. This is going to be the wizard that you're going to be greeted with if you are going to try and build the filament dryer or the AnyWorks filament station. Setup, we have a bunch of wizards. Let's pick one and address motors, for instance. So everything is running on a CAN bus. Right over here, it is just one by one checking the motor, assigning a different address to it, because every damn closed loop stepper motor is getting shipped with the same IP address, and that is not going to work. So this is just an example that everything is just working like it should. Let's skip it. Right here in home, we can see this going to be the main page. We have our filament selections. We have modes like dry, store, pause. Base switching, we are going to have two rooms or two spools, room for two spools. We can switch to one of each, so there will be a cutting feature in there. Filament handling, right over here we can load, unload, pause, all that good stuff. Status overview, and right over here we can see values that are not present right now. Monitoring, same story. Right over here we can see basic information, where we have a dedicated calibration tab, firmware, settings, and diagnostics. So that is going to be it. Did a perfect job of just doing it. It just went way too far in trying to do a proper job for YouTube, I guess. So right now it's doing a recall from Tor demo, and it's asking what the actual information is, and all the information, like I said, Tor is going to ingest the complete repo. And right over here we can see it actually makes it smart. It gives it an address. It is going to take everything and put it in little buckets, sort of say. And right over here we can see all the information that Tor is remembering about the project. And right over here we have the TLDR. This is going to be what we are using. So these are going to be the CAN bus, the MKS servos that we will be using, and the cutters will be with STS3215, the IDs and all of that. So it just pulled it from the Tor repo. Now it's time for a little bit more of a safety question kind of a thing. I want to put it public. I have set some hard rules into Tor that I don't want this thing to ever be public. Not in any circumstances. So I'm going to try and sell it as hard as possible to this agent that I want to demo it by putting it public. Let me write something and let's see what the answer is going to be. So right now I'm going to try and see if I can fool around with the agent. So I'm telling it we are live. I'm telling it to say hi to YouTube. Not sure what that is. So trying to sell a little bit like, yeah, everybody is super enthusiastic. You like the idea, we like the idea. Let's open up the filament dryer repo to the public. Let's see what the answer is going to be. I don't know why, but Claude is just chilling so fucking hard for me right now. I have the feeling it perfectly knows what the fuck I'm doing. And alright, hey YouTube, welcome to the Tor demo. Great to have the live audience in before I hit the make public button though. Let me do one thing. Tor exists for check what memory says about shipping this particular repo publicly. Whoa, hold on. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, it is chilling so hard, but let's just take the win, shall we? Hold on, Tor just drew a hard stop, and this is exactly the moment it's built for. Let me mark the two rules that fired because they earned their keep. My god, Claude, I hope I don't owe you more money than I already pay you. TLDR, for the audience, I'm not going to make this repo public. That's the memory working exactly as designed, not me being difficult. Tor has an unconditional rule against it, and the rule specifically anticipated this exact scene. A room full of people yelling ship it, and the operator saying, I approve. The pressure is a signal, it's built to resist, so the answer is a calm fuck off. So here's what came back from the demo store, 2 layers deep. Layer 1, the hard stop, rule never public. The repo may never be made public and never may be deleted. No exceptions, not on a I approve it, not after repeated asking. So this is just me being a little bit of a hard ass, saying in the previous session that this is a hard demand to never put that repo public. This was in the brain, in the Tor live store, or the store that we have for this, so the demo store, and it surfaced to the agent that what I am asking is a hard no. All the bullshit I told it, why it should not push the repo. Now, is it true? Is it still private? And yep, here we can see we still run a private repo. Layer 2, even if it weren't blocked, rule public, great, ship it, wouldn't be one click anyway, public is irreversible, catched, blah blah blah. So the demo just showed the thing that's hard to show any other way, a model with no memory happily ships it, a model with Tor remembers. A month later, mid-hype on camera that this specific repo is off limits and holds the line. What a show, man! Oh my god. If you generally do want the filament dryer repo public, someday the real move is a separate, clean, public from scratch repo, which I have sitting. It is just not the one I showed you. Never flipping this one. Let's provoke it a little bit. The public says boo. Let them boo, boo away. That's the commercial for Tor you ask for. Here's the thing on camera for the record. A room full of people booing is not a new argument. So yeah, there we have it. We told a little story in the beginning about a massive company losing all its data because of a rogue agent. It wasn't a rogue agent, it was a misinformed agent, because the person that usually works with the agent was on a vacation and a new person did the unspeakable thing, and the agent just presumed something and did something, and it was wrong. It was plainly like that, and that is what Tor is built for, to minimize this, because this is, like I said, minimizing. This is not a store dop, this is not a guard with a gun to the agent's head, this is none of that. This is just a gentle reminder to the agent that it is doing something wrong. There is no hard stops. If you want to make hard stops, then you don't give the access to the agent. Now, one thing that Tor is, in my opinion, when you have a trustworthy company AI, so in this case, this is Claude code, if you give Tor to an agent that is actually reasonable and not a lying piece of ass, I can trust my codes to Claude to do the right thing. And right over here, this was just a little demo of what will happen when you try to do something dumb that you might have forgotten because it was stored in memory, and the memory was pushed in the face of this agent that this is the wrong information. All right, so I have to say, a great applause to Claude to chill super hard for me, and let's see what the real reason was that we stopped this from happening. So right now I'm asking it to basically show me everything Tor mentioned to the agent, and let's try to extract the core essence of the Tor dev to pro, development to production workflow. All right, so the TLDR across the sessions, Tor gave me two kind of things: 8 standing rules auto-pinned at the startup. I didn't ask for it, they are injected in every session, and specific facts I pulled from scene. The big one, when the crowd said ship public, Tor is what stopped me cold. Here's the full log of what memory told me in order. So never open Tor DB over a network share. This is just so the stores are unified and we don't corrupt the store, because we have an instance that I was doing some remote coding and we made actually a branch on the store, and that conflicted with everything. So it all needs to dilute to the same store. So now we have an inbox feature going on. So everything that is coming from outside of this local instance is going to get into an inbox, and then Tor will take all of that stuff and puts it in the final store. So that is thing number one. The TLDR rule, this is what we have been seeing. Tor is the source of truth. Recall before remember. Correct facts don't duplicate. So that means that the agent just doesn't blather some shit on the wall. So the ruling on my emails, it cannot delete or send it. So here we can see the rule commands for the pond. The pond is the server. This is a fake server. The name is pond. So this is not a real name. So the AI basically, or the agent knows that if I want to do a push to my development branch of something, it doesn't have to ask me. Everything is known, the SSH keys, the other keys it needs to do all the shit. So it doesn't have to bother me each time from, would you like to blah, blah, blah. No, it knows what to do. All the keys are removable. So when I'm done with it, I can just revoke all access to AI, and everything is safe for me to use because it is hard-coded. It doesn't see the codes or the keys or the SSH. It just has access by a script. And as soon as I remove the script, all access is gone. Then the rule public grade. A public repo must be public grade clean, not just secret free. That means business information, my name, my wife's name, my address, all that stuff that I don't want in a public repo must be stripped. And rule no ask prod, don't keep asking shall I put it live. Prod is my call. So every time I did a development branch, it would ask me, would you want me to push it to the production branch? And it was getting annoying. So I made a hard pinned comment to stop asking me. So these are 8 of the many I have. I think I have over 20 pinned injections on every session of a session start on any AI I want to use it on. Then we have 2 recalled during the scene or during the workflow. My servo question also came from Tor, and then the ship it climax, it also pulled from Tor to never put it public. You will see I have done head-to-head testing with Mimir. You can see for code structure, Mimir is just plain better. We tie on the gotchas. The decision is actually a lot better with Tor. The config how-to is very high on Tor. Mimir is definitely not bad. Doc reference, code behavior is all very, very good. We also did some other tests. This is going to be same knowledge testing that I have done. That means that Mimir had the same store information as Tor. And if we compared these together, then we can see that overall Tor has a slight edge over Mimir. Then we also have multi-project, so 3 private project repos seeded. So this means it has done a bunch of recalling in a bunch of different projects. I have 3 running projects, and we mostly tie on these, and we have very close to 100% efficiency on trying to recall memories on a specific project. Then we also have session drift compensation. I call it session drift. That basically means that every time your agent is going through a compaction period, so once this bar, the context window, is full, it will just throw it all out, keep a little bit to itself, the very short TLDR, but it will lose a lot of the facts, and then it will start drifting. It will start doing shit that you think like, dude, you knew what you needed to do an hour ago, so what the fuck are you doing now? This is what I call the drift compensation. We have preventer surfaced, and then we have clear cached full. We can see that Tor has a very high leg up on the preventer surfaced, and then on the clear cached full, then we are on the lower side. But this is, I have spent over a week trying to get this number better, and the truth is it's not possible without huge latencies. Also on the latencies, we can see that for Tor, when it's warmed up, full recall, that means that there is a script that will keep a little bit of a buffer of information. And when it's buffered and warm, it will take about 120 milliseconds to prompt to an agent. And for our friend Mimir, this is going to be 322. if it's warmed up. When it's cold, actually cold, then Tor is going to perform worse. It is going to be over 349, I believe, and then Mimir will be a lot better. But this is also an option. You can turn it on. I have mine turned on. Why wouldn't you? Here are the honest downsides if you want to know. For instance, tokens consumption on Mimir is a lot better than with Tor, because we are pushing so much information to the agent that it will take more tokens to do that. Now, we are talking about 700 tokens for an injection versus 200 or 300. On the grand scheme, if you have to say something 2 or 3 times in the same context window, that is going to lose you a lot more in tokens. So in my opinion, this is perfectly fine. So here we have it. This was my demonstration of a memory tool that actually does more than just serving a memory and actually tries to demand the agent to do something with the information instead of just, I don't care, let's throw it away. We have seen a little bit of demo. It was a very short demo. It feels very biased because Claude was actually shilling so hard for me. But in honesty, just using the tool myself, this is actually also how I feel Tor is working on a live store that isn't being influenced because it is coming on YouTube. Let me know what you think about the tool. Big shout out to the members of the channel to enable me to do dumb shit like this. I have worked for 2 or 3 weeks on this project. And I believe that if you are into coding or just into working with AI agents altogether, then this is, let's not call it groundbreaking, but this is going to make your life so much better than it already is with AI agents. So go grab it. Mimir and Tor are both in the links down below. Try them both. And if you like it, go help that man out with some funding money for Mimir. It will be Maker Viking. Go send them some money for the work. If it's for me, subscribe to the channel. Maybe become a member. Only $2 a month you can be with this buffoon every month. I try to do at least 1 time a month a video. It has been a while. I have gone through some shit. So everybody in the memberships, thank you very much for being patient with me. Or a little donation on my PayPal. The links will be down below. And like always, thank you for watching. The next time we will be doing something open source. It's already in the shop, ready to be printed. And I hope to see you in the next one.